Say hello to the same joke every Warframe YouTuber is going to put in at the beginning of their build video for this weapon. But seriously, what's going on everyone, and welcome to another episode of Watch It in Action. I'm your host, BouseFeenux. Today, 18.11 dropped, and with it came some new mastery fodder. I'm talking, of course, about the Stradavar, the new Tommy gun-inspired rifle that just dropped today, and oh boy is it average. The Stradavar is a high-capacity, high-damage enforcer with the ability to switch between semi-auto and fully auto firing modes. I can tell you that after putting forma on this thing, that at least two of those statements are false. Taking a look at the stats, we see that the Stradavar looks like a sort of weapon that was released about 2 years ago. It has fairly low base damage for a weapon of its type, virtually no status chance or crit chance, but it does have the unique ability to switch between firing modes by using the alt fire button. Since going semi-auto adds no foreseeable stat changes, accuracy increases, or critical chance, I'm unsure of why you'd want to do this, but it is pretty neat though. Additionally, for my tests, I saw that this weapon had very poor ammo economy. I actually zeroed out on ammo during an exterminate on Ceres, where the max enemy level for that type of mission is in the range of 30 to 38. This probably owed to its very low damage capabilities, because even at this level I was struggling to take out some of the more heavily armored opponents, which is a problem seeing as how the vast majority of this weapon's physical damage is made up of puncture, which excels at taking down armored targets. Now, I realize all of this sounds quite cynical and very different from the tone of my normal videos, and I say all the things I've said previously, having gotten this weapon for free from Digital Extremes, but I can't in good conscience recommend this weapon to anyone in its current state. The only reason you might want the Stradavar is to increase your mastery rank and to add to your weapon collection. Taking all that into consideration, I did still put a build together for this weapon. Let's jump over to the simulacrum and check that out real fast. As stated previously, I've invested 4 forma into this weapon. One of the positives to the Stradavar is that it actually comes with 2 V polarities, which is super helpful for a weapon of this type. The build here is extremely basic, but with the absence of critical, status chance, or any unique mechanics, this is pretty much what we have to work with. If you remember the Tiburon video, this is actually the exact same build for that weapon as well. To start, we'll be using heavy caliber, which increases damage across the board at the cost of accuracy, which isn't a problem with this weapon. Split chamber gives us multi-shot, and serration gives us pretty much what heavy caliber does, minus the accuracy loss, just straight damage with this mod. The last mod on the top row is Shred, which gives a boost to fire rate and adds punch through to our shots, which allows us to shoot through objects and enemies. I find this super helpful, but it's not 100% necessary. You can switch this mod out for just about anything else. On the bottom row, you'll see that I'm using 3 90% elemental mods and 1 60% elemental mod. If you mix and match the mods, you can get any elemental damage type, leaving you a bit of flexibility in terms of what faction you take this thing up against. For the final part of this video, I'd like to show you how this weapon performs in a high-level environment. For that, we'll be using a smattering of enemies from the Grineer faction. The puncture damage of the Stradavar should be able to put a dent in these guys, right? Well, not really. As you can see, it's quite a struggle to deal with even some of the more medium armored foes, let alone the highly armored targets. Now, I usually don't give my opinions on weapons, but I found this one to be highly disappointing and near useless even at lower levels compared to even other weapons of its type. There are plenty of other weapons out there you can invest 4 forma into for twice the utility and power of this weapon. Save your time on this one, guys. And that about covers it for today's video. Again, I apologize if this was a little harsh, but if you enjoyed this episode, support it with a like. It helps out way more than you think. Also, if you're new here, consider subscribing. I put out new Warframe-based content along with some other stuff almost daily, and as always, thank you guys so much for watching.